And welcome back to Hero Power, episode 11. I'm your host, Avantes. This guy up here is Zeroshio, and over here we have Versika. Wait a minute. That's not Versika. Nope. We are proud to announce we have a very special guest on the show today, MattyJMania.
That's me.
Yay.
My mom says I'm special too.
Yeah, so if you guys are new to the show, because like I said, this is only our 11th episode, we are a weekly Hearthstone podcast, and we like to do things a little differently than the other shows. First of all, I am going to introduce myself. Again, I'm Avantes, and I have been playing Hearthstone since beta. I played a lot of CCGs prior to that. I played Magic for almost 20 years, Magic the Gathering. So, yeah, I really like collectible card games. and unfortunately, I've known this guy for almost 20 years as well. So, Zero, why don't you go ahead and tell him a little bit about yourself?
I'm Zeroshio. I've been playing Hearthstone since just a little bit before Avantes. And I was the one who taught him how to play Magic the Gathering and was a semi-professional Magic the Gathering player for a number of years and hope to one day be a professional Hearthstone player. Got to get my act straight. And that's why we're here tonight, to learn from the master, Matty J. Oh, he's over here? Yeah. Matty J.
I'm this way? This way?
Yeah.
All right, Matty, tell us, give us your credentials.
Well, I'm MattyJMania. I started collectible card games with Magic, but it was a long time ago, and I only played for a couple years. It was like Revised and like Ice Age, and that's kind of like that's when I played. So
That was my heyday.
yeah, that also says how old I am too, so that's fair. And I didn't play any collectible card games. I played a lot of video games between then and now, but I started playing Hearthstone on launch is pretty much when I started playing it. I didn't get to play beta or anything, but I started playing first month since launch, and I loved it immediately. It took me back to Magic, and yeah, I just kept playing it over and over, and eventually I hit Legend, and then I did that 7 more times after that. So
Awesome.
Yeah, and so you stream pretty regularly on Twitch TV / MattyJMania?
I haven't been streaming as much recently. I'm probably going to get back into it. It's not that I don't enjoy it, because I do. But yes, when I do stream, it's Twitch TV / Matty, MattyJMania.
Okay, and also, if people want to follow you on Twitter, it's the same thing, right?
Same thing. I'm MattyJMania everywhere.
Yeah, except on Etsy. Let's take a minute and let's just give a little bit of a shout out to your Etsy shop here, because it's freaking cool. Why don't you tell us about it?
So basically, like, I like making custom lapel pins. This isn't like my first go at it. I've probably made about 100 different designs for music, bands, etc. And I have those on another website, unrelated, that we don't. It's not a big deal. We won't talk about it. We'll talk about the Etsy ones. It's just a fan made Hearthstone pin, and that's HS collectible pins. I do it with my buddy, and we're gonna hopefully keep making more fan made Hearthstone related pins.
Now, the picture on Etsy and what we just showed you here on the camera, that shows you the detail. It's really good detail, but it doesn't show you those things are thick, durable, double backed. They are some of the most sturdy pins I've ever purchased. And Matty J, just his quality is top notch. So I definitely implore people to go out there and check out his pins. Those are really cool if you want something kind of custom, very limited series. He hasn't made these, aren't mass produced yet. So if you have them, very few other people are going to have them.
Yeah, pretty much I do most things. Like, I've been doing like just art in general for a while, and I always go limited edition. It's kind of like, it's the better way to go with art, in my opinion.
Yep, check them out, man. They're awesome. I love mine. All right, guys. So we got a little bit of show news to talk about this week. We finally got all of our storage issues fixed, and all of our past 10 episodes are now fully available on iTunes. We're really excited about that. Also, we have a brand new website that you guys can check out. I'm going to actually kick over here just a second and show it to you. So, welcome to Hero Power, the website. On this page, you can actually get direct links to our iTunes, our RSS feed. You can check out our Twitter. You can email us if you have any questions about the show. We also have all the episodes on the site, along with what we talked about, and the deck lists that we ran that week, and the audio portion of the show itself, where you can either play it on the site or download it. It's up to you. Please check it out. Let us know what you think. If you see something you like, something you don't like, let us know. We're always looking for feedback. Alright, next, we want to thank our patrons. We have two new this week, I guess. We want to thank Matt for joining us and helping us out. And we want to thank Riv for upgrading his patronage this month. You guys just don't know how much that helps us out. I mean, that website alone was partially paid for by you guys. It really helped us get it out there. So, and also, while we're talking about iTunes, we had our first review on iTunes. It was a 5-star review. Yeah, Zeroshio's been freaking out about this all week. So we just want to take a moment and say thank you to Kicked Tripod, who said subject of his review was one of the best new Hearthstone podcasts. And he said, podcasts are wonderful because anyone can do it. But there are 3 things that make a podcast successful. Number 1, personality. I love the personalities of the hosts, and they gel incredibly well. Number 2, content. I've really enjoyed the fun and light content brought to the show, as well as great information. And number 3, production. This is the make or break for me. To do number 1 and number 2 means you make a great podcast, but number 3 means you are a serious contender in podcasting with legs to go beyond the 20 to 30 episode hump. I believe that this podcast totally has all 3 aspects and make a great podcast to me. These guys are on my weekly list, and I will continue listening for as long as they are making awesome content. Kick Tripod, you don't know how much that means to us. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
And for those that don't know, Kick Tripod, he's not just a regular podcast listener. Obviously, we all love to listen to Hearthstone podcasts. He also does a wonderful show called Well Met. He's John on that show, and having that kind of praise really makes us want to do this, especially from somebody who has such a successful and thriving podcast. And I listen to him. I'm actually a patron of Well Met. I listen to him every week and love his content, and it really humbles me to have him like our products so much, and I really appreciate it.
All right, so enough about us. Let's get into the news. All right, so yesterday, Blizzard announced that it is addressing a peculiar bug where the game will crash at launch in iOS 9 iPads, but only if you're holding the iPad with the home button oriented to the left of the screen. Let's all take a moment and think about that.
I get it.
So you're fine as long as you're not standing on the side of a mountain with one leg in the air and the other arm over your head.
Yeah.
It sounds like an easy fix that the developers can knock out real quick. I have had experience with this bug, and when I read it, I purposely tried it, and sure enough, it does cause it to crash.
Interesting. All right. More importantly, Blizzard announced that it has hotfixed the portion of League of Explorer cards that appear while building an arena deck. Previously, some cards were scarce, while others would pop up all the time. Now, League of Explorers should correctly appear about 50% more often in arenas than other sets. I could say the last Priest arena I ran, I saw no less than 4 Entombs and like 3 Museum Curators. Not that I was complaining about the Museum Curators.
Yeah, that's a good problem.
Yeah.
All right. So next on my list is this isn't directly related to Hearthstone, but I thought it was a really interesting. We had talked last week when we had Legend of the Innkeeper on the show that Blizzard just went out and bought MLG, and that was a huge step for their esports division that they've just launched. Well, now they've announced that they are launching a TV and movie studio, sort of, I guess, in the same vein as like Marvel. But
yeah, this is really neat. This right here, I'm really excited about this. Obviously, Blizzard Activision is spending their Christmas bonus this year. They bought King right before Christmas. They just bought MLG for I think 46 million, and now they're purchasing Stacey Sher now to lead this movie and TV studios. Now I'm not sure exactly what the plans are, but they've mentioned in the article that it's going to cover all the brands. And remember, Overwatch had such an awesome trailer that was kind of akin to a Pixar movie, and a lot of the fans have gone out saying if this turned into a series or a movie, we would just here's our money now, Blizzard, just do it. So I'm wondering if this isn't kind of from the outpour of the fans saying that we like this kind of content. What do you think about it, Matty?
Well, also I think Activision owns some decent IPs that can be turned into that kind of thing. Just off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure they own Skylanders, which is, I could see like there's a huge market as far as like kids for that kind of thing. And I don't know if maybe they have something like that, like kids TV show. I know that's kind of like not in the Blizzard vein, but it would make smart business sense. I don't know as far as maybe, I guess I don't know if it's going to be related, to like the Warcraft movie, because that's coming out in June. Maybe if that's a success, there's something else down the pipe for in that vein too. But yeah, I have no idea. I was kind of curious, like why would they buy something like that? But I guess we'll find out.
You think purchasing it now, we might see maybe some trailers come June during the the Warcraft movie?
I guess it's tough to say. It depends on what they're gonna do with it. I know for like as far as a movie, I'm sure if they already have something like in the works that they could show a trailer for the movie, or at least like TV show. If they have something going on with that.
I would love, one of my favorite Blizzard stories is the StarCraft story. And I would love to see a television series based on the StarCraft universe. I think that would be amazing.
Well, you also have to think about it this way, too. Blizzard Activision will not put money on something unless they've already got plans for it. So they're not going to get Stacey Sher just to let her sit in the office and possibly come up with ideas. I guarantee you, they already have ideas. And they're handing her a portfolio saying, here's all the ideas we have. What ideas do you have? Let's go ahead and get started on this production. And they may have already started on the production. You have to remember, with the MLG acquisition, they bought the Compete license and proprietary license, back in, was that October? So they planned for that acquisition months in advance. I expect to see the same out of this acquisition.
Yeah, I think this is good news for Activision Blizzard fans. Stacey has spent the majority of her career as a executive producer with Quentin Tarantino, and so I think they've really gone out and got somebody, I think, that will understand their stories and be able to tell them in a way that fans will enjoy.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's talk a little bit of Hearthstone. First up, I want to touch back on last week's Tavern Brawl a little bit. We talked about it briefly, and I had only gotten to play it once or twice. This was the Battle of the Builds, where you selected an ability at the beginning of the match. Do you guys think this could lead to us seeing sort of like what enchantments were back in Magic, where you play a card on the field and it affects your side of the battle? Could we be seeing a new mechanic coming to Hearthstone? Matty, what are your thoughts?
I'm not exactly sure. I think I don't know. That's a tough one. I honestly, the way it currently is going, I would say maybe down the line, and maybe this is kind of just them looking at that. I don't think we would see something anytime soon, and maybe, like I said, this might have just been like a kind of like a really generic test run on it. I could definitely see them going in that direction, because eventually you could only have so many spell and minion cards. It would definitely make sense to add that type of mechanic to the game. But I guess you would also have to add some type of like disenchant kind of mechanic as well. It could make it pretty overpowered, but I do like, I was gonna say, they kind of already have like buff cards, like global buff cards that they just started introducing. For example, like Muckless Champion, Mist Caller. Is it Every Fin is Awesome? Is that one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like those are more like global buffs. But I mean, I guess they kind of already had that with Cenarius, I think, is one that comes to mind. The rest that come to mind wouldn't stick, like Bloodlust and Savage Roar. But they've started to make these ones that are a little more sticky. So I could see it down the line. I don't think it would be, say, in the next expansion, but that's not to say within like a year or something we wouldn't see something like that.
I think if they're gonna do this, they're gonna have to change the layout of it, because it put it in your history so you could see what you had. But once that scrolled down, you couldn't tell anymore. So if my opponent got a certain buff and then I forgot, there's no way for me to know until he throws out a creature that follows that buff. So they're either going to have to put a new way to view the history, or a little indicator in the corner that tells you what buff, if they're going to do this as more of a permanent thing. I think it was a really good experiment, especially if it's something they're thinking about doing in future sets and future cards. But they are going to have to tweak that layout, because I know there's a few times that I forgot what my opponent picked. And if you don't write that down, once it's gone out of the history, which only holds what, like eight options or 10 options, I can't remember which, but it's going to be gone and you can't scroll through it. I've always wanted them to have a scrollable history bar, but that may be too much taxing on the server to hold that information mid match, especially for those long 15-20 minute matches.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm really kind of hope they will. I hope they do something like that in the future. You know, it would add an interesting concept. You know, if you now have like enchantments that hit the board, and then you have to have some sort of creatures or spells that have disenchant to be able to remove them from the board. You know, it adds another level of competitive play, I feel, and I would like to see something like that moving forward.
Now, moving forward, speaking of that, let's talk about this week's Tavern Brawl.
Yeah.
This week was a repeat, but not exactly. It's Tavern Brawl is called Return of Mechazod, which you might have seen before. That was the first time they introduced co-op play. Well, Mechazod is back, and he's back with a vengeance, but this time, what was it last time? Paladin and Priest?
Yes.
Yep.
This time, it's Mage and Druid, which my experience with it wasn't as smooth as Avanti's experience with it. It took me a few times. It took a little bit to try to figure out what your opponent who is actually working with you has to help you. So it was a little tough for me, but I got it in, I think, 4 attempts. I finally got a win.
I got lucky. I got it on my first attempt. I was playing Druid, and I pretty
Nice.
much just focused on trying to ramp the game. It was the creature that, when it comes into play, both players either draw a card or gain a mana crystal.
Yes.
I was giving mana crystals. I was healing my opponent when I could. It was all about me just trying to ramp up our to get us to the big stuff faster, basically. And he was just direct damaging the heck out of Mechazod. So it I got lucky. It fell into place first try. I know Zero watched part of my match, but have you had a chance to do it yet, Matty?
Yeah, it took me about 4 times. It sounds to me, Avantes, like you were playing Druid the correct way, and I wasn't so lucky with the Druid players I was matched with. I'll say this: Druid at the early game of that, and kind of even mid game, is the support character. Meaning, like when you played the 2/4 Grove Tender, you
Yeah.
went Mana Crystal. Good job. Go Mana Crystal, everyone.
Thank you.
I do
Don't
want
do
to throw
card
out
draw.
I do want to throw out a hint here. If you are a druid and Mechazod's attack is up to 12, do not hit it with your face. There's no need for that. Unless you're going to kill him, don't do it. Just don't.
That's also really good advice. You probably don't want to hit him with your face, period.
Nope.
Oh, I cringed every time I saw it. But
Oh.
one big thing this week, though, is you don't get a pack for a loss this time. When they first debuted it, because it was such a new concept, even if you lost, you got a pack. This time, if you lose, you don't get a pack. So they're not as forgiving. Basically, it's, you know how to do this now, guys. Just earn your pack.
The key last time, if everyone remembers, the best combo you could do was the Lorewalker Cho Millhouse Mana Storm combo.
And it's still there.
It's still there. Don't play
With
Millhouse
Mage.
Mana Storm on turn 2. Don't do it. And then play Grove Tender and draw cards on turn 3 and make me concede.
Yeah. In my match, I had 2 mana on turn 10, and I cast Wild Growth, which put excess mana in my hand, but I didn't cast it. I passed the turn. On the next turn, I played Lorewalker Cho and then played excess mana, so my opponent got a copy of it, and we just kind of passed it back and forth a couple times, and then apparently Mechazod got pissed and killed Cho.
I did find an odd, playing so much, an odd little, I'm not going to call it a bug or anything. It may just be the way it is. If I just cast one spell with Cho out, he left him alone. But anytime I cast 2 or more, he killed Cho that turn. So there may be a way to work around just only casting one spell, maybe passing a Pyroblast back and forth, and that's it. I don't know if that's 100% the way it works, but it really, in 4 games, it really seemed that's how it worked.
Another thing that I recommend doing is, so I was mage. I think I was mage like almost every time. And so like I played like Cold Light Oracle on 3, and I did nothing with Cold Light Oracle pretty much the rest of the game. I just let it sit there. And I think you like cards like that, you kind of just want to let him hang out. There's no sense in running 2 into his face for no reason. And that way he can maybe absorb some of the damage. Also, if you can like play cards like the Arcane Golem on 3 for your opponent. Like I said, it's all about ramping up. Vanti's really said that. It's all about ramping up early and then trading spells back and forth if you can. And the mage is the one. The mage is going to have the big burst, and the druid's going to have the creatures with the roar. So if you can play like
he also
Leroy,
has an ability. He also has an ability that allows him to kill anything with the highest power. So if you have something that's higher power than maybe a beneficial, like an what is it, the animated armor? Or, something that is giving your opponent some benefit, don't just run it in there and get it killed. Let it sit there a bit, because if he uses that ability, it's kind of like a cannon fodder. Yeah, you're sacrificing a little damage, but you'll get that damage there. You got to be patient because there is a Fugan Stalag on there. And one of my games, or the game that I actually won, we actually timed Fugan came out and died, and then we timed a Stalag with a mirror entity, and we both got Stalag. And when he killed him, we both got the 1111 that pops out of there, and that was pretty cool.
That's very cool.
All right, guys. So this week, Matty gave us a awesome Tempo Mage deck that we're going to talk about. So I will go ahead and actually pull the deck list up here. Let's see. I need to go this way because this deck list is a little wider than the ones I normally use. So Matty, why don't you give us the rundown on each of the cards in the deck and your thoughts behind it?
Okay, first of all, let me start by saying I don't really play Mage a whole lot, and this is APX Void's Tempo Mage list. This isn't something I personally made up, so I want to give credit where credit's due. He's a pretty well-known Tempo Mage player. One of the best, in my opinion. So this Tempo Mage plays a little bit differently than the Tempo Mages that are going around right now. And you'll kind of see that with the deck. And I'll point out some of the cards that are unique to this one and some of the cards that aren't included as I go through. So most of these cards are 2-ofs, and I'm not going to really say 2-of. Just assume it's 2-of, because there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 cards that aren't 2-of. And the two of those are legendaries. So everything's a 2-of, unless I say otherwise. So it starts out with Arcane Blast, which is kind of unique to this style Tempo Mage. It's a 1 mana. You deal 2 damage to a target. As well, it gets double damage with spell damage. So Azure Drake plus this makes for great board clears for 1 mana. It's kind of like a 1 mana targetable flame cannon. As well, once you get a card we'll get to in a second, Sorcerer's Apprentice, working with it, you get it for free, which you can never beat free spells. And then you kind of have the standard arcane missiles in Tempo Mage, as well as the mana worms. Again, they're kind of a given. This deck runs double flame cannon. I really was questioning this pick at first when I very first saw this deck. I started playing this deck last season a little bit. Actually, a lot. I played this last season. But I really questioned the double flame cannon and the double arcane blast. Don't question them. Just go with it. Trust me. I was wrong. They're really good. They're really good. Then, of course, the standard double Frostbolt. Like every mage has Frostbolt. Double Unstable Portal, which make the game and this deck very interesting, unique, and fun every game. It makes it so the deck doesn't get stale on you. Double Mad Scientist. Double Sorcerer's Apprentice, which are like a key. Don't go just throwing them out there willy-nilly. You need those babies. They're very important. The double Arcane Intellect. And I'm sorry, am I going too fast through the cards? Do you want me to explain what each card is?
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. So we have the double Arcane Intellect. The double Arcane Intellect and the Azure Drakes, which we will get to, are the only card draw in this deck. As well as, I guess, sort of the Unstable Portal is sort of a card draw. It's more like a swap. All right, now here's the 2 1-ofs. 1 counterspell, 1 mirror entity. And ideally you want those to proc off your Mad Scientists, and the 1 mirror entity is kind of like your other card draw. So you will find yourself a lot of times with very few cards in your hand with this deck. It's kind of a very top decky deck. You're going to be having 1 or no cards starting around turn 6, pretty much till you either win or are just drawing dead. Double Flame Waker, which are so clutch, so key. They're kind of like the heart and soul of this deck.
My favorite mage card right now.
Yep, it's pretty crazy. And that's not a card you want to play on turn 3. This is kind of a card you got to strategize and plan for. And you can play at 3 if you have a good strategy in your head on how it's going to work. But you definitely want to make sure you're getting value from these guys. Double Fireball, which I don't think I've ever seen a successful mage without fireballs. I mean, maybe there's some, but Double Shredder, which is kind of unique to Tempo Mage. They usually run maybe 1. This one's 2. Same with Double Azure Drake. And then finally, you curve out up into, obviously, these are singles because these are both legendaries, Archmage Antonidas and Dr. Boom. So the cards that aren't in this deck that you see in Tempo Mage, and I'm sure you've seen in most Tempo Mages or one form or another, is the new card, the Ethereal Conjurer, which is a 6 mana, 6/3. You get to draw a spell. It's good. It doesn't synergize as well with this build as I thought it would. Basically, it's kind of a little slow. This Tempo Mage plays a little bit faster than the normal Tempo Mage. It also doesn't run the Mirror Images, which is like the 1 mana summon 2 O2 taunts. Instead of those, it runs the Arcane Blast, which again, I think, so the Ethereal and the Mirrors are a little more reactive, and these are a little more proactive. Because playing a 6/3 for 5 mana on turn 5, it's kind of like playing a heal bot for Mage, except you're getting your spells instead of healing. Because 6/3 is probably going down. So it's kind of like you're paying 5 mana for like sort of like a card that is a easy to kill taunt, so to speak, and the spell, which granted you can get a good spell, but and then the mirrors again are those are kind of like a stall mechanic. You can get value off the Flame Waker, but rather than stall them out, why not try to kill their things with the Arcane Blast?
We've got a question for you in chat. Jazzy wants to know, can you work Rag into this deck somewhat?
Can Rag go in here? Sure. Rag
I'd
can
say
go in here.
Boom, maybe.
Yeah, that would be the only card that I would think would come out. Everything else pretty much is in there for a reason. I guess maybe there's a chance you can maybe take out, if you want to, a Flame Cannon, one of the 2 Flame Cannons, but I really have been enjoying them. I've been getting lots of value from them. But yeah, I think Ragnaros can fit in here. But that, again, that's like a good example of, I think like you'll see Ragnaros in the other style Tempo Mage versus this one. Also, the counter spell is kind of unique. A lot of them run double mirrors. Some of them might run a duplicate. Some even maybe an ice block. I played one today that had an ice block.
I like the counter spells in it.
Counter spells huge, especially with the meta right now, with Warlocks that are control Warlocks running Siphon Souls and Twisting Nethers, Demon Wrath, Hellfire, Shadow Flame, all that stuff. Even like zoos that are trying to burst you down, even if you counter their power overwhelming, it can be so huge against a zoo. Secret Paladin is obvious. And now, granted, if you counter one of their secrets, it's not the best. It still can be pretty good, but if you get to counter like their Blessing, or a regular Paladin countering Equality or Consecrate, Druids, any Druid spell you counter is going to be awesome, especially Force of Nature. But I mean, even countering a Wrath or a Swipe is great. Against the mirror match, countering most spells is going to be good.
Warrior. One thing I saw that was kind of, and again, I want to say I played this deck just as it's listed, and I was very skeptical because it seems a little more aggro sensitive than tempo, but I mean it's obviously tempo when you start playing it. The one thing that I noticed is the 2 fireballs. Is there a reason why Forgotten Torch isn't put in there?
So basically, would you take out a fireball and put in a Forgotten Torch?
Because I'd either take out one or take out both. Because I've learned that if I have the fireball in my hand early, it's really waste until mid to late game. Where I would rather just have a Forgotten Torch at 3 mana, kill something early, and now I have a fireball equivalent in my deck.
Yeah, I could see it going both ways. The only thing is there's a lot of times where the game's coming down, and if you're top decking a Forgotten Torch for 3 damage, so a lot of times you just need the fireball damage. Like you just need to top deck a fireball. I don't think Forgotten Torch is horrible. I wouldn't do 1 fireball, 1 torch though, because as I said, pretty much every card in this deck is 2 of, and when you do that, when you build a deck that way, it basically just builds it for consistency.
Exactly.
So that's the big thing with it is the deck is consistent.
Now I will note that I did go from rank 10 to 6 with this deck. So it's a very effective deck.
You can definitely rank up fast. I was playing it on my EU account today just to like make sure. I played it on my NA account 2 days ago or yesterday, and I went from rank 7 to rank 5. I think I lost 2 games from 7 to 5. And then on my EU account, I went from 12 to 8 in like maybe an hour. So it's pretty good for laddering. There are games you can have with it where you're just going to feel bad. You're just going to draw poorly. You're going to draw dead. But I mean, that you could kind of say that with everything. The deck can be a little streaky. So if you're playing this deck and you lose 2 in a row or 3 in a row, don't get frustrated. Just keep playing it because it will streak the other way too. You'll just be blowing people out. Like I beat someone on turn 5 today, like legitimately just beat them turn 5 because they had Mana Worm, coin Mana Worm, and it just snowballed from there.
I was gonna say let's talk about that for just a second. What are you mulliganing for in your opening hand?
Okay, so opening hand. So the I would say the not obvious card that you might keep is if you go second and have coin, you might keep a Piloted Shredder. Yes. Other than that, anything 4 and up, you would definitely never keep. You'd never keep a Fireball Drake, Archmage, Boom. You can keep Flamewaker. If you go first and you don't have that great of cards, I wouldn't keep a Flamewaker. If you go second, keeping Flamewaker is probably always good because you can usually turn 3 Flamewaker coin 1 mana spell is pretty much how it will work out most of the time. So Flamewaker's fine. Never keep secrets, obviously, with the Mad Scientist. So you pretty much never keep your secrets. You never keep your Arcane Intellect. And other than that, anything else, it's kind of dependent on what else your hand looks like, but pretty much everything up is fine. You can keep all your 2s through 1s. Now, granted, you don't really want to keep Arcane Blast, Arcane Blast, Arcane Missiles. You know, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you kind of want a balance in there. Like you kind of want, if you get one of the 1-drops, absolutely keep it. You always want to keep your Scientists, always. You would never not keep your Scientists. Same thing probably with Sorcerer's Apprentice. Always keep Mana Worms. Always keep Scientists. Always keep Mana Worms. Typically, you're going to always keep your 1 mana spells or your Flame Cannon or your Frostbolt. And so that's my generic general keep mulligan. It really depends on your matchups. You kind of have to know what the opponent's going to be bringing down. So like if I'm playing against the Warrior, I'm absolutely keeping Shredder. I'll keep a Shredder even if I go first, because the Warrior's not going to have any early game. If I'm playing against a Druid, I'm definitely going to mulligan hard for Frostbolt or Flame Cannon because they're going to have the Darnassus or the Shade that I want to remove with Flame Cannon or remove the Spirant with the Frostbolt. So
and on the Piloted Shredder, against Warrior, it'll definitely eat up both charges of Fiery War Axe, and that's just great value.
Yeah, it'll eat up both charges of Fiery War Axe, or it'll just draw out the charges on the Despite, and then you can kind of get away with playing your Flamewaker. It's okay to play. You got to kind of know what the opponent can play and what they're capable of, and factor that into your mulligan as well. There are decks that are a little bit... So, like, I'm playing against the Paladin. I'm going to always keep Arcane Missiles every time because they're going to do the muster for battle. It's going to happen. Or they're going to have Haunted Creeper, and I could bust it open and get them that way. So, it's like... But, like, I wouldn't keep Arcane Missiles, say, against, like, a Priest. I don't
druid,
really need
yeah.
priest or druid, because druid's only going to pretty much drop 1 minion a turn. I'd keep it probably against warlock, because warlock's kind of a hard one. There's a lot of different warlock builds right now. They're hard to read, but like I wouldn't keep arcane missiles against a warrior. Now if I got them, it's okay because I can probably combo them with the Flame Waker.
Yep.
And that's another thing too, is with the Flame Waker, there's going to be, there was a game where I was playing against a warrior, and essentially what I did was it was like turn 5. I already did my play. I had Sorcerer's Apprentice on board. I had a Flame Waker, and I frost bolted his face so he couldn't attack me with his weapon. He had nothing on board, and I still had that mana left over. Well, it was 0 mana at that time for the missiles. And I said, I'm going to do it because I'm going to get 5 more damage on this warrior's face, and he's not going to attack, and he has nothing on board. And I just knew that there's no way this warrior is going to effectively deal with my board. And I basically just burst him down to like low teens at that point on turn 5, and I won the game. Like there's a big difference. There's also a mental difference for that warrior being at turn 7 or turn 5, being at 17 and being at 12, staring at that board. So if I can put him down to 12 and he's staring at 5 more damage, plus who knows what else I'm going to do, and this Flame Waker's left unanswered, again, it's kind of just in his head. It's kind of like a mind game where it's like a fireball is going to kill me,
Oh, yeah. And having that kind of burst potential, I even was able to get somebody down to 3. They renode, and I just bursted them back down again. The burst potential is great. Getting Antonidas out and doing some damage to face just to make sure you have the lethal fireballs in your hand. If they can't answer you, period, if they can't keep themselves from dying, who cares if they can clear the board? If they know that you're at 10 mana and you have 2 fireballs in your hand and they're at 13 health, there's nothing they can do. They lose next turn.
Yeah. That's another thing about this deck is, so if you've had a lot of, if you've never really played Tempo Mage, but let's say you've played a lot of mid-range Hunter, it's kind of the same mentality where mid-range Hunter kind of sort of controls the game and gets the face damage in when it can. And then all of a sudden it can just shift gears real fast and just be straight aggro and just crush you. Like they drop a high main 6 and now that they're going all face and it's hard to answer. It's kind of like the same thing. In the early stages of this game, you just want to play your minions on curve, make smart plays, setting up your Flame Waker. And then after a certain point, and it's always differs and varies, you're kind of just controlling the board, and then you just shift gears into just aggro burst face damage. Mm-hmm. With Antonidas as well, you pretty much almost never want to play him on just 7. You want to get value from him. You want to get at least 1 fireball out of him. Because he's kind of like, if you do that, then he's kind of like Emperor Thorson, where you have to deal with him, and if you don't deal with him, you pretty much just win the game.
Yeah.
So you at least try. Now granted, there might be a game where you're top decking, and that's like your top deck. I would still even probably hold out 1 turn to see what else I could get, but don't play it on 7 by itself without Fireball.
All right,
yeah,
guys.
Exactly.
All right, so that's going to do it for the first half of the show. If you're joining us on Twitch or YouTube, please stay tuned for our live play portion. If you are listening via the audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us at this time. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast, and you can find our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOGamers, or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show, you can help support and improve the show by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/ECMMOGamers, and we will see you all next week. All right, you guys ready to put what we just talked about into practice?
Oh
yeah, definitely.
All right, let me get it fired up here, and I will spectate you. All right, so I'm too quiet now. Let me turn it back up just a little bit.
I think you're good now. You were quiet for just a second.
All right, I'm adjusting on the fly here until chat is happy.
That's the way to do it, right?
All right, Matty, I'm ready when you are.
All right. There we go.
Sweet. Yeah,
Josh-
I've had a lot of really good results out of this deck. I'm really excited to see you play it.
Affinity wants to know, can I replace Dr. Boom with Magma Rager? Yes. Please do that.
Yeah, I saw that earlier, and I was going to mention it.
Please do that. That's my buddy Josh.
I
should-
missed that one. That's a good question.
You should absolutely do that. Only Josh do that.
Actually, you should go ahead and get rid of Dr. Boom and Antonitis and put 2 Magma Ragers.
Okay, so here's our mulligan. You guys tell me what you think you should keep.
Against Mage, I'd probably keep Apprentice and the Frostbolt.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm just throwing back the Azure Drake here.
Yep, you definitely always keep the Frostbolt. You want to throw back the Apprentice. We kind of want a Flame Cannon, or Mana Worm, or Scientist is really what I want here.
And I found a lot of times I will not do much on turns 1 and 2. I'm reactive on turns 1 and 2. I start getting proactive about turn 4.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Yeah, that's about right. Turn 4, turn 5. So we obviously play Mana Worm here. It opens us up pretty well. If we could get Apprentice down next turn, we probably will. But I feel like he'll probably coin Scientist. And then we'll probably ignore that. Okay, we're totally getting the Apprentice down then.
Yeah.
He could be setting us up to kill whatever we put out now. But
yeah, it could be Freeze Mage too.
Yeah. Running quite a bit of that lately.
All right, there we go. We know what's up now. So he's gonna Frostbolt that. Ooh.
Which he should.
Okay.
Arcane Missiles.
All right, so we're just gonna Frostbolt that. Call it a day. And then we have our Flame Cannon to deal with his Flame Waker.
Yep.
Or yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, in the mirror match, I've learned that Flame Cannon for their Flame Waker is really important. It saved me a lot of games. I don't like seeing the Dr. Boom this early, but, it is what it is.
Yeah, we have them. It's fine. All right, this is kind of annoying.
Do we just value ping that?
Yeah, I'm debating on that. I'm debating on...
We really want the value from the Flame Cannon with the Flame Waker, I would assume.
Yeah. I guess I'm going to just ping it.
A 6 to the face also isn't terrible. A lot of times I don't get a lot of Flame Waker combo value out of my fireballs.
Oh, that's what he's going to do.
Yep.
Yeah. That would have been another...
Ooh.
This is weird.
All right, so we obviously want to hit the 3/5. Best case scenario, it kills his board.
Yep.
Do it.
Yep.
Woo.
Yep.
Oh.
Oh, so close. So close, though. That's still good value.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, this is dead, but oh well. So he only has 2 cards, which is good for us, and he's pinging our face, which is fine. So we're gonna go Portal, and we got Boom next turn.
Yep.
Oh, cool. That works out perfectly.
Oh, this is great. This is
excellent.
great. He's got to fireball that.
Yeah, that was a great get out of the portal.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, he has to fireball that. And
He's just gonna ping. That's fine.
Well, he's already used 1 fireball, so I think he's only got 1 left, and he
may have a
doesn't
Flame
have
Cannon in his hand. Oh yeah. And the
He's,
rule is on hero power: if Dr. Boom is green, you put him on the screen.
Yeah.
See, that wins. Dr. Boom wins.
Yeah, he knew
It was downhill from there, yeah. All right, let's do another one.
Say it with me, kids. If Dr. Boom is green, put it on the screen.
I'd say that's true, like 98% of the time.
Yep.
Tiff, the fireball to your face was stupid. I agree, Tiff. That was kind of just like, I don't know. Maybe he had I don't know.
That would tell me he's drawing nothing.
Yeah.
And he's hoping to just burst you out.
It was kind of, yeah, exactly. All right.
And that was really the only reason I thought of doing it myself.
All right, what do you guys think of this hand?
Oh, look at that unstable portal. Yeah, this is a fireball. We're playing against Warlock, so that flame cannon is going to be good for the Imp Gang boss.
Yeah, it's really good for Imp Gang boss. I think just keep all the 2-drops here, and you just get rid of the fireball.
Yes, we are all team turn 7 here.
Yeah.
All right, so I can, because of my hand, I can coin portal here. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I would say if we had a Flame Waker in our hand, probably save the coin. But since we don't have the Flame Waker, I agree. Oh, and that's going to be great. Core card.
Yeah, this is awesome.
1.
Debating on.
Is that worth a Frostbolt?
I think I'm going to just make him trade.
Okay, so go to face with that?
Yeah.
And he's going to use a Mortal Coil or something.
Yeah, he'll have to use Coil or a Dark Bomb. I assume he's going to go Gang Boss. There you go. Yeah. That's fine.
But that stalls out his Gang Boss.
Yeah, I'm going to probably just do nothing here but draw.
Sounds good.
I don't really care about this card.
Yeah, Dark Peddler's gotten a lot of play. I just don't see it as being that much value.
It's pretty good. It's actually pretty good, man.
I really like Dark Peddler.
It's just not very threatening. So yeah. I'm probably gonna do this in Frostbolt just based on my hand. Playing Shredder's fine. He probably has an Owl, so I'd rather have him Owl the Scientist than the Shredder, though.
See, my thing with Dark Peddler is you can get a 3rd Power Overwhelming off that card and just wreck somebody.
I usually end up getting Corruption, though. Almost every time. And Corruption's not terrible, but if you need immediate result, and what Corruption does is it makes a minion die on your next turn. So it still has a whole turn to attack or do whatever it wants to do or trade.
So right here you play Azure Drake instead of Shredder because next turn you could go Shredder 2-drop. Because he's going to have to play something.
I mean, he has to get rid of that Azure.
If I didn't have the Drake, playing Shredder here is what you would do, and it's fine. But there's no reason not to get Drake on board to get the spell power going, and then you could go Shredder and then one of these guys. So yeah, this will be really good because we can just Flame Cannon that, and it will just straight up kill it. So he is playing Malagos Warlock.
Okay.
So it's a race right now. He's actually dead next turn.
So he's trying to set up for combo.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably dead next turn.
Yeah, throwing out Mountain Giant for 3 isn't always...
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
No.
Horrible. Yuck. Oh, well, at least we have Dr. Boom. No, we don't.
No, we don't, because we lost a man.
Yeah. At least we have the... Well, we could do some chain damage here. We can Flame Waker into Frostbolt and Arcane Missile and just
I'm gonna actually
do a bunch of damage.
I'm going to Flame Waker... wait a second. I think I'm going to Flame Waker draw. Because there is a chance he might be Reno. Based on that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Based on actually, he probably is Reno based on the last plays. So I want to save.
Only seen one of so far.
Yeah, I'm going to save all my bursts.
That's very fair.
So he has to pretty much heal here. He's dead.
And Malagos and Reno both look a lot. Ooh, there's 2 peddlers, so it might not be Reno.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this guy.
Homebrew? Unless he's doing that kind of the way Super JJ did his Freeze Mage, where he had like 3 or 4 2-ups.
That's pretty good. 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7.
We can boom just for board presence. He can't surely have lethal next turn.
Oh, him have lethal? No, he doesn't have
Yeah.
lethal. Even with Mally, I don't think he can have lethal.
And talk about clearing the peddler with the flame waker. Was that just to make sure we had that board presence?
Yeah, there's no sense in trading peddler into peddler. If I trade peddler into peddler, he has an easy Lotheb into flame waker trade.
Gotcha.
And then there's no board. So 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 13 guaranteed.
So depending how the bombs land.
Yeah.
Run them into the 4-2, the big game hunter.
Let me think here. Six, 9, 10, 11, 13, 15, 16. Yeah, we need this to hit face. Oh, come on.
Oh,
one more time. One more time.
Try it again. Yeah, I was thinking that gives us 2 fireballs.
That's not what I wanted to hit.
Nope.
That's gross too. I should have cleared that first. But if I clear that first, then the chance of them going on Gang Boss is better. It was just bad either way.
It's a coin flip either way you look at it.
3, 6, 8. Yeah. So he knows he's probably dead if he doesn't heal.
He has to clear that Antonitis.
He's gonna be rich.
You think so?
Maybe.
He's got 6 mana. Oh, he tapped.
No, he didn't have it.
Oh, we'll be 1 mana short. He healed. I'm
gonna just play it all.
Okay.
Or as much as I can.
Hope this is a gang boss. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to save all my burst, you know.
Yeah, I really think you might see Reno, but we've seen 2 2-ofs now. So you might be right with the Malagos, because there were two heal bots, two dark peddlers so far. Just got to get him in that fireball range.
Yeah, I really need I don't have a lot left here. I got another fireball. I got my Azure Drake.
There's that Iron Beak, Cal.
And I got my Flame Waker. So we countered that.
That's
ooh, double coil.
Yeah.
Terrible. Double coil. Yeah, this can't be Reno.
I don't know. One of those coils came from
Dark Peddler.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough.
It's the only way to do it at this point.
Just race him?
Yep. If he Renos, we lose.
I really don't think he's Reno.
Oh.
Draxus.
Yeah, we just lost.
Yep.
That was a really good match, though. He played everything he needed to play right when he needed it.
Yeah, no, he had he was on point. So
Affinity in chat said combo lock.
Yeah, probably. I don't know though, Josh. DC. Yeah, I guess so. He's got the Thorson. I mean, if you look at it, it's almost like
kind of a classic.
It's just handlock. It's kind of just handlock with the only thing that's not handlock, Josh, is like the Dark Peddlers. Every other card is straight up handlock.
Yeah, we're DOA right here, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna concede. I was just looking at his deck. Yeah, it's straight handlock. I think it is just straight handlock. I don't know though. It's hard to
He
say.
played it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Handlock's tough.
All right, let's do one more here and see how it goes.
And I've learned with this deck, you really only want to see one turn 10. If you get to turn 10, you want to be finishing them off about then.
Yeah, it's definitely not a deck that can hang around on turn 10 for that long. And like I said, if you go ham and play everything, and then they like Reno, and you don't have a solid board and a good hand, you're just also dead. Because then they'll snowball it at that point. So right here, I think we just keep Frostbolt.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, Imp Gang is weird. You're right, Josh. He did play double Gang Boss.
Yeah.
But he didn't play. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's.
Ooh, we got us a Tespa. It's a pretty guard pack.
I think I'm gonna just
Go
play
ahead.
Mana. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Mana Worm. It's tempting to coin out the Mad Scientist, but
Yeah, if I could save coin, it's fine. It's actually probably better if I could save coin.
yeah. If we see a Flame Waker coming in here, that's going to be great.
This is fine because I'll just Frostbolt that. Gross. He has a boom.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. At least we know one of those cards in his hand.
That's true. Doesn't make it better though.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do this coin Frostbolt.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Sounds legit. To coin a phrase from my buddy Espo.
So he's probably gonna play the bow. If he bows the 3/2, it's kind of bad. All right, cool. We actually wanted him to kill that instead. I'm way cooler with that. I'm tempted to draw here, but I'm probably just gonna play Scientist, and then he'll kill the 3/2. So he has to take 6 damage from this as well.
That's
He
pretty good.
He took
value.
6 damage from Mana Worm, 6 damage from the girl. Juggler. This is fine.
We'll just trade that into a Juggler, right?
I don't know. I'm tempted to go missiles.
Roll the dice.
Yeah, I'm tempted to go YOLO.
Well,
I'll probably.
That's some
you
YOLO.
only need one missile to hit the juggler, and then you could fire blast it. But
Yeah.
Not if you Arcane Intellect.
This is the smarter play.
yeah,
What do we get? Counter. Counter's fine. I'd rather have the mirror, but
It counter handles that whole small beast and then kill command shenanigans.
yeah, it's true. I mean, I don't think he's gonna kill command right here, but I mean, I guess he could. We have a ton of damage in our hand too. We could probably just start going for it here in a second. My buddy was wanting me to take the risk on that last one.
Roll the dice. Do it
Yeah.
twice.
Exactly. All right, so this will be
Flame
good.
cannon here?
Yeah, definitely flame cannon. We'll do her. Cannon. It's fine.
That and missiles? That'd be... Hit the missiles first to see where they go?
I don't even think so. I think I just ping it.
Okay. So that if he trade, or if we decide to trade,
He has to trade. Yeah, he has to trade.
that'll give us more value out of our arcane missiles.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine if he doesn't want to trade. He's going to trade, though. All right, no, he's not. Cool.
Good.
It's fine with me.
Oh, that's some good value with Azure Drake and both of those arcane missiles and arcane blast.
That makes it 4. So if I fireball this though,
Okay.
then I can blast miss. Yeah, I think this is better. This is better.
It's a good draw.
I'm debating on. Yuck.
And hope the missiles hit. Three good valid targets for it. Boom.
Oh.
That's not terrible, actually.
No, it's not terrible. It's not great though.
I mean,
It could be worse.
yeah. We have 2 fireballs. That's 12 points of damage in our hand.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna
And
probably
that's
just.
14 if we combo them with Azure Drakes.
All right, there's this boom.
Yep, that's good.
I'm just going for it.
Yeah.
It's a good way to do it.
I have the counter spell. I'm not worried about dying. All right, he gets a shot. He gets it right now. He's gonna play it.
Yeah.
I get the Elic, which he's gonna kill right away.
Probably with his bomb.
Oh, he just won.
Oh wow, man, what a great time for that.
Yep, that's game.
Yeah. And I have been having some trouble with Hunter, mid-range Hunter specifically.
Yeah, Flame Waker, you're too late.
Yep. He got some good time drops. That King's Elic really worked for him. They gave him everything he needed.
Yeah, he got both draws off it. Yeah, it was pretty rough.
It's
Yeah,
hard
those-
when they get those free draws.
Those were some pretty rough draw games on our side. Really good draws for both the Warlock and the Hunter, and both in both games it was a very well timed Lotheb.
Yeah, Lotheb shut me down
Yes.
both times.
Yeah.
And I've learned that if a Lotheb hits the wrong time, you're kind of just you're dead that turn. There's not much you can do.
Yeah, a spell centric deck, definitely.
This deck has worked really well for me. Like I said, I went from 10 to 6 without too much effort in the course of just a day.
Yeah, and Let Surf in chat said that he actually played this deck last season, had Duplicate in for Counterspell, and made Legend with it. So
Yeah, I was playing it last season with Duplicate in it, and I switched to Counterspell. I think the Counterspell's been working a little bit better. It makes it a little more... Because it's kind of a little bit more aggressive than like a traditional Tempo Mage.
Yeah. Very.
So, yeah, I think the Counterspell can be pretty swingy, just as swingy as... Like I said, Counterspell's more proactive and the Duplicate's more like reactive. And like a lot of these cards are more proactive.
right. It's definitely a very fun deck.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it can, as you saw that first game, it can win decisively, quickly. All right, guys. Well, I think that will just about do it for us. Do you guys have any last minute thoughts or shout outs?
Maddie?
No, thank you guys so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure, and yeah, I really appreciate it.
And I want to give another shout out to John over at Well Met Kick Tripod. Really appreciate the wonderful review and positive messages. And definitely Legend of the Innkeeper guys have really been helping us out. They're on tomorrow with their new host. Check them out. And yeah, y'all have fun. And don't forget to use your hero power.
I just want to thank Matty for helping fill in this week. It was great having you on the show. And guys, don't forget, check out his Etsy shop for these awesome custom-made Hearthstone pins.
Awesome.
They're only $10 plus shipping. They're great value and they look fantastic. So, all right, guys. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Please hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you've not done so already, and give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted to when we go live. Also, remember to check out our Patreon, because once we hit our first milestone, we will start giving out a $20 monthly prize to one lucky patron who backs us. For more details, check out patreon.com/ECMMOGamers. And as always, guys, good gaming.